We are spending $8.3 billion a year on our Medicaid program. And we cannot sustain it. We can't. We're spending 40% of our budget on Medicaid. If you count the overhead at DHH, it's about $9 billion. And we can't sustain it. And what do we do about it? Last year, according to Public Affairs Research Council, we had 900,000 visits to emergency rooms for routine care. Now, what does that mean? That means that our program, perfectly legal, pays for people to take a $700 ambulance ride. Strike that. Medicaid pays for our Medicaid taxpayers pay for people to take a $700 ambulance ride to an emergency room to be treated for acne, to get a pregnancy test, to get obesity counseling, to have their eyes examined for glasses, for diaper rash, for infertility, to discuss infertility treatment. We will pay for those things under Medicaid, but not in an emergency room. It costs 5 times more to treat a patient, to give a patient a pregnancy test in an ER than it does in a private clinic. It's killing us. And you know what we're doing about it at the Department of Health and Hospitals? Nothing. Zero. Nada. It's why our Medicaid spending, one of the reasons, is up 41% under this administration. Other states are doing something about it. Go over to Houston's Memorial Hermann Hospital. They've got what's called a patient navigator program. They establish paraprofessionals at the entrance to every emergency room. When somebody shows up and wants to get a pregnancy test, they're told, look, we'll get you that pregnancy test. We'll get you an appointment. But you can't come here to the ER. This is for really, really, really sick people. And the law does not require it. That's another myth. The law, neither federal nor state law says that you have to treat somebody in an ER for an obvious non-emergency if they're not willing to pay for it. We can save tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars by doing what other states are already doing. We're doing nothing. My disappointment in this legislative session has been that all you have heard is money. And let me put it another way. All you've heard is give me more of your money. Taxes, taxes, taxes. Nobody's talking about the spending side. That's my point of view. I don't think we have a money problem. And I don't think let me amend that. I don't think we have a revenue problem. I think if you look at the numbers, it's clear we don't. What we've got is a spending problem. It is a spending problem. It's how we're spending the money that we do have. And I don't care how high you raise revenue, as long as you persist in spending more than you take in, which is what we have done each year for the past 7 years. And as long as you persist in spending it, more of it on things that you just want, as opposed to things that you need, you're not going to solve this budget crisis. You know what our legislature's done about it? Nothing. Nothing. How can we possibly look taxpayers in the eye and say, we're out of money, let's just talk about taxes? I'm telling you, there's money to be saved. Other states are doing something about that and saying, no, you can't go to an ER because you have a sunburn. You know what we're doing about it? Nothing. Zero. Nada. If you drill down and look at the numbers, you also find that 3% of all of our Medicaid patients spend 43% of the money. That 3% is spending an average of $82,000 a year. Something's wrong. I know what I do and you do. If you were running the Medicaid program, you find out who those 3% are and see what the problem is. You know what we're doing about it? Nothing. Zero. Nada. All the DHH does is go to the legislature and say, gimme, gimme, gimme. Need more, need more, need more. We can save a lot of money in our Medicaid program just by copying what other states are doing. But instead, the response to our problem seems to be, we don't want to do the hard work with spending discipline. We just want you to give us, taxpayers, we just want you to give us more of your money. And I don't think that's going to solve this problem, nor do I think it's right. And the reason we're in the trouble, The reason we're in the trouble that we're in my opinion, it's not because we don't have enough revenue. We've got more money than we've ever had adjusted for people and inflation. It's because we're not spending it right. And the problem with our budget, that $25 billion that we have to spend, we got too many people at the top, undeserving people, getting bailouts and special treatment. And we've got too many undeserving people at the bottom getting handouts. And the rest of us in the middle get the bill. And until we get that straight and change our spending habits, then we're going to continue to lurch from budget crisis to budget crisis and live from paycheck to paycheck.
I want to go about DHH spending, and when you were here last time, you talked about 900,000 in 1 year visits to the emergency room for non-emergency care. Could you care to elaborate as to why that seems to garner so little attention to put a spotlight on those facts versus the inherent proclivity to say, let's raise more money, let's raise more money? Could you just comment on why you think some of the points you're making don't seem to be getting a whole lot of attention?
Well, controlling costs while still being able to deliver a decent product is hard work. I mean, it's not as easy as just walking in and raising taxes and fees. It's hard work. It's hard work. I just watched what other states have done and done successfully, and it's clear to me that those states that are doing something to control their costs of the Medicaid program are doing it in part through controlling the abuse of the emergency room. It doesn't mean these folks are going to go without care, but you can give a pregnancy test a lot cheaper in a private clinic than you can in an ER. I probably told you all this last time, but I don't remember his name, but I got a call one time from an emergency room physician in New Orleans. He read something earlier. He said, Kennedy, you're right. He said, stop me if I told you this before. But he said, we've got a lady, an elderly lady, sweet as she can be. She comes to our emergency room every Saturday night. And I said, well, why? She gets sick every Saturday? He said, no. She lives with her kids. Her kids don't want to pay for a babysitter. So they drop her here every Saturday night. And we got to give her a physical and talk to her. We have a good time. And then I send the bill to Medicaid for a couple $1,000, and they pay it. Now, how much sense does that make? And you know what DHH is doing about it? Nothing. That's just my opinion.
Thank you, Treasurer.
Yeah, Mike.